Living with anxiety can be like walking around with a worried, panicked monkey on your back. So today I'm going to give you tips on how to live with anxiety without letting it dictate your life. So by the end of this video, you can live your best life even if you have anxiety in the background. Hi, I'm Dr. Tiffany Shelton-Mariol, PhD in clinical psychology and owner of Conscious Life Shop. I share videos on how to create peace, mind, brain, and spirit. So please subscribe to my channel because I'm back posting weekly and very happy and excited about that. Also, don't worry about taking notes. I have a free hack sheet linked in the description below with all these tips so you can just pay attention and watch with ease and don't worry about having to remember the information. So just be sure to click that link in the description below. Okay, so my first tip is understand that anxiety is not the enemy. So we can get so caught up in our reactions to anxiety that's actually what makes anxiety worse. It's what causes us to stress and which actually causes us to have the feelings last longer. In Buddhism, it's called the second dart. It's our anxiety about anxiety. So ask yourself if you can start to form a new relationship with your anxiety as the observer. Instead of experiencing with panic and dread and wanting it to go away immediately, I want you to start separating yourself and seeing anxiety for what it is, which is an adaptive emotion. It's not the enemy. It's an emotion that we have evolved to have to signal us when we're not feeling safe, secure, stable, or confident. And that's just a signal that our brain sends us that says, hey, either my thoughts, my actions, or this situation is not making me feel safe, I don't feel stable, I don't feel secure, or maybe I just don't feel confident, like in public speaking, for instance. So we can start to look at our anxiety as a signal and start to form a new relationship with it by understanding that it's not the enemy. So that's my first tip. My second tip on living your best life even with anxiety is learning to ride the wave of anxiety. Every emotion is like a wave, and it usually lasts up to 8, at the most 15 minutes if we don't feed into it, if we don't buy into it with more thoughts or actions that are going to make it last longer. So if we were to just let it be without feeding it with more panicking thoughts, more anxious thoughts, anxiety only lasts about 8 minutes, and we can learn ways to ride that wave of anxiety for those 8 minutes and still live our best life. So I have a video, which I'll link just in the description below, because this video is not really about tips for those 8 minutes or coping with anxiety, things you can do in the moment. This is really a video about living your best life and not letting anxiety control you. So the tips for the actual that you can use in those 8 minutes, I'll link in the description below. It's natural remedy or natural tips that you can use to manage your anxiety in a natural way. But for now, my second tip is learning to ride the wave of anxiety so that you have a willingness to tolerate it, a willingness to experience it for those 8 to 15 minutes so that it doesn't fester and become larger. If these tips are making sense to you and you are understanding what I mean by this sort of acceptance point of view of anxiety, please comment below your thoughts. And if you have any questions, or if this is just like, it seems like, how could I ever learn to ride the wave or sit with my anxiety, please write them below and let's have a conversation and discussion, because you really can have anxiety and still live your best life. It doesn't have to control us. In fact, we can start to look at it as a signal. We can start to look at it as a temporary emotion and still continue to do the things that we want to do, even if we have to take anxiety with us. My third tip is to know your anxiety. So if you're going to become the observer, you're going to need to know what you're looking for when you're starting to disconnect yourself from, because that's the goal, for us to separate our true self from this anxious experience, right? And in order to notice this anxious experience, to become that observer, to become more of that true self, we have to know what anxiety looks like for us. So let's say you are in a panic situation or an anxious situation, you want to know what your symptoms are at their highest and at their lowest. So like, let's say you're going to have a financial stressor that comes up. You want to know what you personally look like. So you might at your highest have a panic attack. You might be not able to breathe until the financial situation is over, or you get the financial help. Let's say you can't pay a bill or you ran out of money or something. So that might cause you high stress, or you might be at a lower level, like at a 5 or a 4, and you're just having racing thoughts or shallowness of breath. So those things are important to know, because you're going to do different things for different types of anxiety. So, and I'll talk about those in future videos. That's called distress tolerance. But right now I'm just talking about starting to get to know what your anxiety looks like. So in order to have like a willingness to tolerate it, it helps to be able to know which stage you're at, because then you can know kind of what to expect. And oh, there goes that again. There goes that panic thoughts again. There goes that I'm having a shallowness of breath. I'm having a shallowness of breath because I'm pregnant and I'm running out of breath a lot. But know your personal symptoms of anxiety. And again, if you're just looking for tips right away for the distress tolerance, please check out the video that I'm going to link below on natural ways to cope with your anxiety for some distress tolerance skills. My fourth tip is to have self-compassion for your anxiety experience. Stop and take a moment when you notice those signs of anxiety and recognize, okay, what may be the trigger? Offer yourself some compassion and understanding, like, okay, I can see why this would cause me anxiety. Like, I'm not used to public speaking and I'm about to get on stage, and you can kind of understand and offer yourself some kindness. It's going to be okay. I'll make it through this. I've survived other things. By acknowledging and offering yourself some compassion in those moments, it kind of takes its power away, because you're willing to accept it because you understand it and you're giving it rationale. Or you might say like, oh, I said the wrong thing and now I'm thinking about it. I'm anxious about, going in front of this person again, or I'm thinking about a deadline coming up. So you can start to notice thoughts and offer yourself some compassion, like, oh, why that makes sense that you might be anxious about it, why your brain might be sending you these signals. So just start to think about self-compassion when you experience these moments, and they'll be easier to tolerate, and so you can still go on living your life. My next tip is patience. Patience is so important because, like I said before, emotions last for about 8 to 15 minutes if we don't feed into them. So having patience and that willingness to go through that time is going to help you. Accept that the emotion will run its course, and once it's communicated its message, it will leave naturally. So just know that it's going to do what it has to do to communicate whatever signal it's trying to tell you. And this goes for anxiety or any other emotion, anger, sadness. As long as we don't fret about making it go away, the emotion feels heard. If you can personify the emotion, the anxiety, it'll feel heard, and eventually it'll go away on its own. But the more we push it away, the louder our anxiety gets. So just be patient with it. Be patient when you notice your heart racing. Be patient when you notice your palms sweating. Know that it's going to go away. Don't try to force it to go away or freak out about having it. And then my next tip is to never let anxiety stop you from doing anything in your life that you want to do. If there's something that's important to you or meaningful to you, never let your anxiety get in the way of taking those actions, because then you're only reinforcing the anxiety. You're telling me, anxiety, well, as long as I yell loud enough, I don't have to face that situation. And you really want to train yourself and your mind and your anxiety that regardless if you're here or not, I'm going to still live my best life. So you can come with me, or you can just keep yelling, and eventually your mind will get used to the fact that, okay, I can hear myself. being nervous about this situation. It may feel a little unsafe. It may feel a little, I may not feel as confident, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And the more you do that, you actually get more confident and you start to feel more safe. So never reinforce that anxiety by avoiding. Avoiding only makes anxiety worse. And the key to living your best life is having a willingness to take anxiety with you, and the more you do that, actually in turn, it's ironically, the less you'll have it. It's like I used to have a really difficult time relaxing when I had deadlines or a lot of schoolwork, even though self-care is so important to me. And what I learned is I'm never maybe ever gonna not have any guilt or any worry or tension when I was relaxing. That may not ever go away, but I can tolerate it enough to still relax and still do my self-care that was important to me, even if I had a little bit of guilt in the background or a little bit worried in the background. I could let it sit there, I can notice it, but I could still take the time to take care of myself. If you want more information on anxiety, like I said, I have the natural remedies for anxiety video. I also have a video on how to stop a panic attack, and I also have a video on how to use deep breathing for anxiety, and I'll link all those below so that if this is something that you are interested in overcoming, you can watch those videos as well. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. Again, I share videos on how to have more peace, mind, brain, and spirit. Please follow me on Instagram. It is _Tiffany Shelton. I'm really active on there and love to connect with people. And until next time, namaste.